Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pauline McLeod Farley, and I'm a consultant, and I'm here to share some information with you about the Four Pillars Strategic Planning Initiative. First, I'll give you some background about the Four Pillars. In 2023, the Government of Canada settled a lawsuit for the harms done by residential schools to First Nations communities. Temagami First Nation is one of the bands who will get settlement funds over the next 20 years for the harm that was done to your community. 325 bands opted in to the Four Pillars lawsuit. Temagami First Nation was one of the 325 bands. When the lawsuit was settled, a not-for-profit organization was set up to manage the $2.8 billion in settlement funds. The organization is called the Four Pillar Society. The Four Pillar Society has invested the money, and they will distribute it to the bands that were part of the lawsuit over the next 20 years. Temagami First Nation has already received $200,000 in funding to create a strategic plan for how they will use the Four Pillars settlement dollars. Temagami First Nation will also receive a one-time Kickstarter fund of $400,000 this year, and 3 months later, they will receive another $748,000. After that, Temagami First Nation will receive $465,000 every year until 2029. After that time, there will be a reevaluation of the amount based on how the fund has performed. Temagami First Nation might receive more funds, or they might receive less funds, depending on how the fund has performed. In order to receive these funds, we have to first consult with the community, and that is what's happening now. Then we will write a strategic plan for Temagami First Nation to show what your community wants to use the Four Pillar funding for. The plan needs to be presented to the Four Pillar Society, and they will confirm that the funds are being used for language, culture, heritage preservation, or community wellness. And once they have confirmed that, they will begin distributing the funds annually to Temagami First Nation. And you will have to create a report each year to show how the funds were spent. So our firm, McLeod Farley and Associates, was hired by Temagami First Nation to help write the strategic plan. And we have in turn hired Robin Potts and Desiree Semp to help us on our consulting team so that we have insider knowledge of your community to pair with our knowledge base, which is how to write strategic plans. So our firm, McLeod Farley and Associates, has worked on strategic planning and economic development and tourism and culture for First Nations across Canada since 1990, including for Temagami First Nation. We'll be consulting the community between March and June, and our goal is to have the strategic plan written by the summer, but we'll take our direction from the community, and if further discussion is required, then we will take more time. So the Four Pillars funding relates back to your history. The residential school had impacts on your language, your cultural displacement, created disconnection from your heritage, and impacts on your overall community wellness. So this Four Pillars funding is an opportunity to reclaim some of what was lost. Other First Nations have already started using their Four Pillars funding, and they're planning all kinds of different initiatives to help revive their culture, language, heritage, and wellness. So I'll just go through a list of what some of the other communities across Canada are doing. They're building classrooms, having storytelling sessions, hiring language teachers and cultural teachers, developing language apps, creating curriculum for schools, having daycare immersion programs to teach the language to the babies, creating language dictionaries, creating language speaking kits, partnering with high schools and post-secondary colleges and universities to provide language credits, developing on-the-land curriculum, hosting powwows, dancing lessons, tanning, preserving animal skins, beading and regalia lessons, having knowledge keeper workshops, having Indigenous medicine resources created, hosting traditional feasts seasonally, hosting naming ceremonies and sweat lodges, developing hunting camps, hosting canning lessons, building community gardens, giving meat preparation lessons, having fishing camps, gathering and trapping lessons, building museums, archiving their documents and ensuring their documents are preserved, doing genealogy research, having Treaty Day celebrations, creating traditional food cookbooks, building elder centers, planning mental health programs, hosting elder and youth gatherings, developing daycares, having harvester programs, or planning for treatment centers. All of these ideas would be supported by the 4 Pillars funding. Now we're looking to find out what Temagami First Nation would like to do with the 4 Pillars funding, and we need community feedback. So here's some questions to think about before you provide your feedback. And here's some ideas on how you can share your ideas on how the funds should be used. You can respond to an online community survey, which is already available. And there are paper copies of the survey available at the band office and Peer Market. You can participate in upcoming focus groups for elders and youth. You can request a one-on-one interview with either myself or with Desiree. Watch for our pop-up consultation sessions, tables at other community gatherings, or tell us how you would like to be consulted, and we'll do our best to connect with you. So here's some questions to consider. What is the value of your language to you? How can TFN preserve and revive Anishinaabemowin? What supports do you need to practice your cultural way of life? What does your community need to do to remember and preserve your heritage? How do you want to be involved and engaged in the 4 Pillars planning going forward? What questions should be asked to help understand and inform the 4 Pillars plan? So please take a minute to join the conversation. You can reach the survey by scanning this QR code, or you can pick up the paper copies that are available at the band office or at the Peer Market. Watch for updates on the TFN website, on social media, and the BI Blast. Miigwech for participating. People who participate are welcome to enter a participation draw for some great prizes. Please contact Robin Potts for more information. You can reach her at rkpotts@gmail.com. Miigwech.